The HNQIS app opens to the plan module. This is so the quality assurance officer can see a snapshot of their schedule and then efficiently plan their supportive supervision visits. There are 4 assessment status categories. There's 1 in never assessed. All surveys start here and then move to new categories following the baseline assessment. Overdue lists the facilities that should have been visited already but haven't, and these should be a priority. Next 30 days allows me to see what I'm prioritizing in the next month. And future, there are 7 in future, is anything that's scheduled out beyond 30 days. Looking from left to right, the plus sign is a quick way to start this assessment. So once I tap on it, it will take me directly to the checklist within the assess module. The top row is the facility name, and the bottom row is the health area. PRD stands for productivity, and it's the client volume of a facility. It's either high or low, depending on the facility data. Competency indicates the facility performance, and it's either competent, not competent, or competent but needs improvement. These 2 factors, productivity and competency, determine the date of the next assessment, which is over here. The app automatically prioritizes low-performing facilities with high client volume. Now, when you click on the 3 vertical dots here, it opens a menu that summarizes the assessment. So up here is the summary. The auto-populated schedule is fully customizable, so the QAO can reschedule assessments to meet their needs. They just tap on a new date and say they change it to May 20th and save it. The Assess module contains customized checklists specific to each country to easily assess facility performance. If I wanted to start a new assessment, I could select from this menu any of these health areas, and then I would select the facility. In this case, I'm going to use a partially completed assessment by just clicking Edit here. Some of the nice features in this module are the very easy yes/no questions to answer. Another nice feature is if I scroll down here on the left, you can see a red asterisk. This is indicating that this is a critical step. So you can see applies BP cuff correctly, yes. Conducts the BP assessment, yes. Takes 2 measurements. Let's say this provider only took 1. So this would be answered no. Up here at the top is a progress bar. So prior to answering that, it was still yellow. Now it's indicating that I have answered all of the critical questions. So again, these are critical questions. So the green inside is saying all critical questions are completed. The outer green circle is saying all the non-critical questions have been completed. I have to answer all the questions before I can mark this as completed, which I'm going to do now. So yes, I want to mark it as completed. Are you sure? I cannot undo this action once I mark this as completed. And now it's going to ask me if I want to go directly to feedback. All of this is working while I'm currently offline. I do not need internet connection to complete this. It's now going to take me to the feedback, and the survey is saved in the app currently, and it will remain there until the quality assurance officer reaches a place of connection and connects to the internet and then sends this to DHIS2. So we've moved from the Assess module to the Improve module now. The Improve module is where I can instantly access the score, the competency class, standardized feedback, and I can create an action plan. For the competency classes, there are 3 possible classes: competent, competent needs improvement, or not competent. The competency class is determined by the % of critical and non-critical steps missed. This is different from the quality of care score. This is based on critical steps missed only. It does not factor in the non-critical steps. However, non-critical steps are factored into the section scores. The reason for that is so I can very quickly identify both critical and non-critical questions that were missed. And I can see here this asterisk is indicating this was a critical question that was missed, whereas here these are non-critical questions. So the difference between the two is this is factoring only the critical steps missed. This is the quality of care score. The competency class is factoring in the critical and non-critical. The quality of care score is also broken down into three classes. 90 to 100% is class A and it's green. 80 to 89% is class B and it's amber. Below 80% is class C and it's red. With this scoring system, a provider can actually have a quality of care score of 100% because he performed all the critical steps correctly, and then still fall into the not competent or competent but needs improvement class because he missed some of the non-critical steps. So here in this section, these are non-critical, but there wasn't a private confidential space and there were no job aids. So the non-critical questions were factored into the subsection score, but they are not factored into the overall score. The overall score is only calculating the critical steps. However, the competency class is factoring critical and non-critical, which is why it's saying this provider's competent but needs improvement in these three areas. After coaching the provider, the QAO can complete an action plan. So here, the action plan summarizes the critical steps missed. So the provider didn't take 2 measurements of BP, he only took 1, and he didn't interpret the findings with the client. The non-critical steps missed were there wasn't an adequate water supply and no presence of job aids. So I've pre-populated this action plan. I typed in the provider's name here, and the first action is me reminding the provider to always take 2 BP measurements and interpret them with the client. So we reviewed the protocol and practiced how the provider would explain the reading to the client. And Dr. Jenga will be reassessed next week on these steps that were missed. So the responsible person is Dr. Jenga, and the due date is effective tomorrow. The next action plan, number 2, is supervisor to supply facility with appropriate job aids. So as the supervisor, this is my responsibility, and the due date is a week from today. The third action is to refill the water tank every few days to ensure the facility never runs out of water. This was assigned to the facility manager, whose name is John, and the due date is tomorrow. So this is the end of the action plan. To mark it as completed, I click here, the check mark. Are you sure? Because once you do this, you cannot change anything. It grays everything out, so you can't edit it. You can now share it with the provider. So you click on the share button, and you can share it via SMS, email, WhatsApp, a variety of different options. Another nice feature of the Improve module is the ability to display educational videos in the module itself. So I can just click here. So this is videos for FP counseling, and then click on the info button, and this video will play directly in the app. I can also share videos with the provider, going to downloaded media and clicking the share button. So the provider can review it again later at their own convenience. The fourth module is the monitor module. The monitor module displays the status of the action plans. In red, we have all the incomplete action plans. There are 14, and we have 22 complete action plans. If I want to look at a detailed action plan, I open it, and I can see what has been conducted and what hasn't. So in this case, I just completed this action plan. So let's say it's a week later, and I've conducted all of these activities. I tick each of these boxes and select OK. It lets me know that once I save this, I cannot undo this action. That's OK. And it bounces it to completed action plans. Also available in this module is a dashboard displaying competency by health area. So I'll select hypertension. And it's going to give me a 6-month view of the performance of the competency classes. So this is telling me that 11 assessments fell into competent, 5 were competent but needs improvement, and 33 were not competent. If I scroll down a bit, I can see this data by month. Any month that has an asterisk is a month where there was more than one assessment conducted. So I can click on this and it will give me the list of the assessments and the score. If I want to actually see the feedback for this particular assessment, I click on the score and it takes me back into the Improve module. Going back to this view, this is hypertension. So we just looked at this by month and then this wheel. I can switch this and select a specific health facility. So let's say I select facility 2. This data changes. So at this particular facility, 1 assessment was competent needs improvement and 8 were not competent. The 6-month view is showing me for all health areas now. So I can see this is all surveys. So I am looking at family planning long-acting, short-acting methods, and it gives me all the health areas for this one facility.